it going? Okay, so today I am in between forging experiences, so I'm going to make some spike tomahawks from some hammerheads. I want to get a whole bunch of these damn axes made up here in the shop, so that's what I'm going to do. First thing I'm going to do, I've already started on one. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drift out this eye, stretch it out, and then I'm going to go over to the power hammer and start doing some work on the blade. So that's opened that up quite a bit. You can see I've already squared down the eye and that ball peen. Got a nice sizable hole right there. I'm going to do this another time or two. Probably at least one more time. Guys, be sure to like and subscribe. The more subscribers I get, the better. Be sure to tell your friends and come check us out here at Forge Memory. Okay, next step in the process, we're going to go over the power hammer here. Now I've already squared the back of the hammer, shortened that eye, drifted that eye out to make sure I've got plenty of room. I want to make these, I want to drift these to fit tomahawk handles. Now we're going to take the face of that hammer and start forging that into a blade. Now there's a lot of mass there. This is going to take a little bit of work. See how that's starting to take an axe preform. Looks pretty cool. that come up to temperature again. Then we're going to go back to the hammer. We're going to get that thinned out, and then I'm going to start forming that blade. Usually takes about an hour to get one of these done. I don't think it's going to take that long on this one. Here for certain. We're going to go through and thin a lot of that material out. We're going to make a pretty good size hog. How's everybody doing? That sounds like your mom and dad. Hey, your dad must have had some game to do that kind of pounding. Good deal. Good deal. Now I am up to forging temp. I want to get that a little bit hotter. It's going to work a little better that way, but I want to get that hotter so that I can start thinning that out. I'm also going to have to, because we're real thick up by the eye, I'm going to have to taper that eye down as well. Once more, we're going to get up to a high heat. We're going to get into that high orange, low yellow range. And is there really a low yellow? When it's yellow, it's yellow. We're going to get that up to temperature, and I'm going to bring that under the power hammer and start basically teardropping that eye ever before we create a teardrop eye. If, by chance, that ball peen, which is now squared, if that moves to the side too much where I can't correct it, I can always cut it off, have a good throwing hawk. But what I'm going to have right here, I'm hoping to make some spike axes, because why the hell not? Making spike axes and hammer pole axes that are not wrapped, trying to keep the blade in line with the back spike. A lot of times it cocks off to one side or the other along with the blade. Trying to keep that in alignment. There's many points to square when making a spike hawk. I'm going to try to get better at that. I've only been doing this for a little over 31 years, but I'm going to keep going. I want to see how I can improve. this damn thing is. I kind of like it. So next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to offset this. So everything's kind of centered. We're going to offset it, start turning it into a blade with a lower flare. The way we're going to do that, we're actually going to do a little bit of hand forging on this now. Then I'm going to go through with a set of progressive drifts. This is a segmented tomahawk drift. So I took a tomahawk drift, a perfectly good tomahawk drift, and I cut it into 2 pieces. A lot of blade right there. I am most likely going to take probably half an inch, maybe even more, off the end of that axe because I don't need that much weight. I don't need that much length on it. There's no point in keeping it that long. I usually do, but you know, on camera, I'm likely to throw that damn thing ever before I get a handle in it. Okay, so right there, we call that a blacksmith circumcision. That's how you nip the tip. And now we're going to go back into the forge. My question is, where the hell did that piece of metal go? going to go ahead and rotate over here just a little bit. I'm going to be doing a little bit of forging on the blade. Then we're going to come over here, we're going to start drifting that eye. Is at $150 a piece. I can't put too much time into these. That's what we're targeting at. Right now it's $150. Our number of times I'd sell them at $350, $400, but right now, especially with the holidays coming up, I want to get as many of these made up as possible, but I've got to make sure they're also high quality. Because that other set is, and then they need adjusted. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Bring that up to temp. I'm going to go ahead and start drifting. So the first piece I want to put through is this lower segment. And what I did was I just took a Holland anvil drift and cut it in two. A bit of a burr right there. Should go through just fine. I'm going to use a 4-pound mini, I guess it's a sledge, to drive that at least part of the way through. Now this still has a casting texture. It could be ground down, made a bit smoother. this is going to work fine for what I'm doing. One thing you can do, you can lubricate these a little bit. Sometimes they get through a bit better. Sometimes they don't stick as much, sometimes they do. So I'm going to use a little bit of canola oil. It's got about a 700-degree flash point. At least that's what I've read. We're going to get that temp up pretty high because I want to get this one driven through as much as I can. Knock it out and come in from the other side. Then I'm going to go from there, see what I got. A lot of mass in that piece. There's been times in the past where I'm like, I've got this metal, I might as well use as much of it as possible. Well, if I've got too much, it only makes sense to cut it off versus making something that's out of proportion. Looking good so far. I'm going to put it back in the forge. Next round, we're coming in from the top. Now, the reason that I use a segmented drift instead of my full length drift here is because right now I'm trying to put as much force on it as I can without using my press, which is across town in storage. So what I'm doing, this allows me to work it just a little bit easier. It's not as off balance as if when I strike it as if I had more steel above. So we're going to see how this works. That worked pretty good. Now we're going to come in from the bottom. The only reason I did the top that quickly was because I had it partially formed through and that bottom opened up just a little too much. And it wasn't going through straight. These drift segments I'm using are H13, so they're pretty damn durable. Alright. Guys, be sure to like and subscribe if you would. Shake it off, bitch. All right. Come up to temp, we're going to drive in from the top, and then we're going to bring it up to temperature again and do a little more drifting. There we got it. Cases I wait till the end to draw that spike out, just because one, it's going to get bent in the process. This gives me a little more time to decide, do I want a spike hawk, do I want a throwing hawk, do I want to make something with a hammer or a pipe on the back. Maybe I put a blade on it. This one, probably not a blade. So now, go to my standard length drift. For those of you just joining us, I started with a ball peen hammerhead, squared the back with the ball peen, drifted the eye, formed the face out into a blade, trimmed off the excess. Now I'm drifting the eye for a tomahawk handle. We're going to do standard hawk handle. And then I'm going to go in, I'm going to forge that spike. One side. Pretty common occurrence. Next we're going in using the power hammer. All right. There we go. So that I have a little better control, I'm actually going to be using 2 sets of tongs. start drawing out that spike. This is going to be a robust axe when I'm done. I've got 2 more hammerheads ready to go into the forge once this one's out. My plan is, instead of going ahead and doing my grain refinement cycles on this, I usually do 3 just like I would a knife. Once I have this forged to shape, I'm probably just going to go ahead and bring it out, let it cool, so because there's a lot of mass there, then I can start grinding on it and go through and do my grain refinement. And I'm probably going to do selective on that because I don't think I'm going to quench the whole thing. I'm probably going to go ahead and heat the spike, quench it, let it cool, then heat the blade side, quench it, let it cool. There's going to be a little bit of auto tempering in that case. I want that spike to be a little softer than that blade because it's basically coming down to a sharp point. I don't want it to be brittle. Once I've done that, I will go in and run a couple of temper cycles on it. So we're going to go back to the power hammer. Come on, you bitch. Spike's a little low on the eye. I want it either centered or more towards the top, not low. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try to correct the positioning on that and get that spike drawn out. we go. I'm going to get this in the forge. So in that first heat, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and square the ball peen up, and then I'm going to shorten the eye. I'm going to flatten it out. I don't need those rounded curves on top and bottom. Like you see here, I want to flatten that out. If I wanted that drawn out, I'll draw that out later. That's a lot of cold mass I've just introduced to the forge, so it's got to get caught up, as in everything's got to even out on temperature before I really start forging that. I think I'm going to use these old wrought iron tongs right here I picked up. Yeah. Coming pretty close on temperature. We're getting there. Like I said, that's a lot of mass to heat up. So, if I was going to do two separate, or if I intended on doing two separate heats, because it may still happen, what I would probably do is I would square that ball peen, then put that back in the forge, and then flatten the eye. I'm going to try doing this in one heat, so it's taking just a little more time. And if that works, then I'm going to go through and start drifting. This is the time you find out, is it forgeable steel? Is it cracked on the inside, or is it cast? And if it's cast, it's real interesting. Okay, so now you can see how that's changed so far. Put my big burley tongs back, and Now we're going to set to start drifting. I just realized I'm actually going to have to open that eye up a little bit first. Sometimes we need to open our eyes. Okay, so what am I making? Forging a ball peen hammer into a spike axe. I've got 3 different size hammer heads. They've already got an eye punched. It's decent steel for a hammer, clearly, or an axe, so that's what we're working on. That's starting to open it up round. So next I'm going with the handle punch. Just like I did on the last one, I'm going to open it up some more. Up a little bit more. Now we're going to bring it up to a high heat, and I'm going to try to two-hand it and drive that through reasonably efficiently. Find out. The other axe had really thick sides. It did pretty good, but it was a bit of a chore. up on temperature, I'm going to get set up to do a little bit of stock removal. Go back to the 4-pounder. I've got bigger hammers, but I've only got so much space right now, and I'm trying to stay on camera. So we're going to come in here, set. Okay, that's going pretty good. I want to get that eye opened up as much as I can before I teardrop it and start drifting it. That way, essentially what I'm trying to do is make my life a little bit easier when I get into the finer work. Crack my handle. Well, just busting it up, it ain't gonna hold. So what I'm gonna do on the next one, I'm going to stick this in, I'm going to start beating it, and the handle's probably going to come out. But that eye is going to open up quite a bit in the process. It's going to go from round to more of a kind of a teardrop shape. And part of that we're going to do from, just by forging it. A lot of times I use just use a hammer and anvil. I got a power hammer right here, so that's probably what I'm going to be using. That's opened up quite a bit. Do from the other side, the handle's still intact. I don't know how much longer it'll be intact, but we'll find out. So, here's one of my ball peen hammer tomahawks, and I just like making these damn things. I like selling them, I like throwing them. Pretty cool. Opened up like one of my ex-wives on a bender weekend. There you go, man. Realistically, I can still use it like this, and I'm probably going to. The eye of that's probably open enough. So next we'll be going over to the power hammer. Let's get a full view on this if possible. Start hearing a little slapping and rattling right here. That was my guy coming loose. That happens. So what I'm going to do now, I've got an axe preform. It's starting to look like an axe-like design. What I want to do, I'm going to heat that up, and I'm going to start bringing that out. Then we're going to go over and do some hand forging and really start profiling that blade. Guys, please like and subscribe. I can use all the help I can get on this. You can also check me out on Forged and Fire, Season 4, Episode 2. deer horn knives. You can check me out on Master of Arms, Season 1, Episode 1, Flintlock Axe Pistol. If you want to check out, actually go on Amazon.com and check out Next Level Knife Making. Well, you can get that through Blade also. I was a contributing author there. If you go on Cultivatina, you can maybe pick up one of my instructional DVDs. Pretty cool deal. So like I said, we're going to do a little more work here on the power hammer, and then we're going to go over to the anvil and do some hand hammering, hand forging, whatever the hell you want to call it. What girl, Dave? What's on Disney Plus? Okay, cool, awesome. Whatever. Okay, here we go. Something about The Last Dragon on Disney Plus. I'm not sure what she's talking about, but seem pretty damn excited about it. Now in this case, I've already got the eye teardrop some. I'm going to start offsetting that blade and then figure out how much of that I need to cut off. Because I frankly think for an axe this size, I've probably got more material than I need. These tongs don't hold that great. What can I say? There we go. The guy only knows how old these damn things are. I can do some adjustment to them right now. I'm probably fine. Let me grab it for a sec. Starting to get a little better shape here. Let me get my Trent tie hammer, my Purgatory Ironworks hammer, and I'm going to probably start forging that over the horn of the anvil just a little bit. what I was thinking originally. We get a different rounding hammer. The 3-pound is a little too heavy. Talking about old tools and lopsided and crooked. There's one right there. Do a little bit more forging, and then I think I'm probably going to go ahead and trim part of that off. Looks ugly. I can work with that. The previous axe, I cut quite a bit of steel off of. Probably turn that into a striker or something if I wanted to. All right. Okay, I've been running this. I'm working at forging heat, obviously, but I've been running a little lower temperature than what I could be. And in part because I wanted to show you guys how much I'm working on at a time. Trying to get as much in there per heat. But, no, actually, I'm incorrect on that. If I was running at a higher temperature, I could be getting a lot more per heat. But now I'm trying to show individual steps. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this to a higher heat, higher temp, and I'm going to see if I can get this done in 1 to 2 heats on shaping the blade. From there, I'm going to go in, I'm going to start drifting that eye, and then we're going to forge a spike. like to make everything flow as much as I can. One thing I will mention is I like to do it with a hammer rather than a grinder. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to forge that as much as possible and see what I can do. If you guys haven't already done it, please like and subscribe. We're doing some live forging here, forging a ball peen hammerhead into a spiked tomahawk. Currently on the second one. This was the first piece I did today. I've got several over here that I've done in the past. For effect right now. Not my final shape, but I'll tell you what, it's actually bugging the hell out of me. Feel better now. All right. So next we're going to be going over here and I'm going to start drifting. See, this is about where I want to be. The question is, what the hell did I do with the drift I wanted to use? Here we go. Oh wow, my back just cracked. Pretty good. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to take my tomahawk head. This is not the one I was forging most recently, but the one I was doing earlier. I'm going to lay it upside down. I'm going to drift bottom up. My final drift will be top down, but this is my first segment, my first little drift I'll be using in this process. So we're going to get that just a little bit hotter. A lot of mass in the eye. bottom up. I'll drift top to bottom because then it's just going to open it up and make it work a little bit easier. All right. Once more, if you're just joining us, please like and subscribe. This is the second tomahawk I've been working on that was a ball-peen hammerhead. Piece in the forge right now, letting that come up to temperature, and we're going to start drifting now. In this case, I've already stretched that eye with a round drift, with a round punch, teardropped it with the power hammer, and now I'm working a tomahawk drift through it, so it's getting to be a little more precision work at the moment. I'm going to do, because I'm not there yet, I'm working over this hole. Starting to make some progress here. Next, we'll come in, work top down a little. The reason I'm going to do that is because it's going to open up that eye a bit more. Be working bottom up on the next round. And I imagine this may actually stretch it bottom up about as much as I need to with this drift. Going top down, it worked quite well. Almost. Not quite. But being that this is a high carbon head that I'm working with, I've got to be cautious about how cold I let that get. It's also hammer steel, so it's pretty forgiving. You still tear it, you still crack it out. Still just fight it. I figure if this will hold up to that repeatedly, I mean this is cold, then that, even at a low temp, should be somewhat reasonable. It's all good until something breaks. get topped up just fine. When you're doing a friction fit, top fit handle, you want to make sure that your last drifting is from the top and that it is wider than the bottom so that you have that tapered eye. Get kind of tired. Next, I'm going to do the same damn thing, only using the full tomahawk drift. Son of a bitch. By the time we hit an hour and a half, I'm almost going to have that other one done. So, averaging about 45 minutes per piece. A little over because I did some work to the other one before I really started the video. We'll let that temp come up quite a bit. In the meantime, I'm going to grind this axe in a little bit. Starting to look a little more like I wanted it to. It's still kind of square here. I'll probably grind that. Profile that just a little better. Taper it up some. Okay, boys and girls, it is time. It is time to start drifting this. All right. Pretty happy the way that went. Not bad. I've convinced myself I'm doing the third one for some damn reason. Okay. I'm absolutely kind of getting tired at this point, but this is going to work. Once I get up to that high temp again, I'm going to drip from the top, and then, sorry, there's a chick with some awesome sweater puppies across the street I was checking out. I'm here on Main Street. I got windows right here. They were quite impressive. So next we're going to go ahead and we're going to start, after drifting, I'm going to go ahead and start drawing that spike out, most likely. All right, coming in from the top. And here we go. Yep. There it is. All that's looking pretty damn good. Okay, we're going to draw out the spike of the second spike tomahawk here. Be using power hammer. here. Hi Dave, what's up? I'm live. Next, I'm going to check for square. Final piece. Now this one already has a large eye to it. That's a little better for what I'm going to be doing. You'll notice that the face of this is semi-conical, a little tapered. That should work to my advantage. Let's see how long it takes to get this one done. So if you guys are just joining us, I've just put a ball peen hammerhead, similar to this, in the forge to forge an axe. I'm going to forge a spike tomahawk. Now this one I'm hoping that I don't have to trim much, if anything, off of it. The others I have been trimming some excess material off, and I've got one, this one's actually still got a little red heat to it on the spike. You can see how it's no longer a ball peen hammer. I'm letting that cool enough that I can start grinding on it and laying that profile in on the blade, taking a little bit of weight off of it. But I'm guessing that in less than 2.5 hours, I will have forged 3 spike axes. Now these aren't going to sell for very much. It's going to be about $150 a piece. So in 3 hours, yeah, you say a total of 3 hours. Once I do my fit up with the right handles, it'll be about $450 in sellable product. Now, back in the before times when the economy was good, I used to sell these between $350, $400. I didn't sell that many in comparison to when I started working in a lower price range. What I changed was, instead of using blocks of 4140, 4142, I started using hammers. You get good hammers, you get bad hammers. You take it for what it is. Sometimes you have a couple failures, sometimes you don't have failures for quite some time, and that's a wonderful thing. Now, I also quit polishing it down and doing an electrochemical etched name on there. I will either hot stamp these, or if somebody wants, I'll put DRFW, I'll hand engrave it. So my production cost greatly decreased. The other thing that I took into consideration was I was doing walnut handles, that I was starting with a blank of walnut and then rasping it down. I can buy commercially available tomahawk handles, and that's what I do. And that's how I went from doing a $350, $450 tomahawk to $150 to $225 tomahawk. My operating costs here at maximum main forge memory, looking at about $250 a month on average. So one afternoon, I can cover a month's expenses. It's a wonderful thing. By month's expenses, I'm also talking about I've got car insurance, I've got fuel, I've got groceries. So it just depends on what I'm doing and how I'm doing that. You can also come here and forge your own knife. Well, guys and girls, it is about time to go back to the power hammer here. Flatten out that eye, square up that bolt beam, unless this proves to be cast or that it has pre-existing fractures. And that does happen. Let's find out. We've been in the forge for about 3.5 minutes. On this, I can't forge this into a spike. There's a crack that's opened up across the back here, but it hasn't affected the eye. I can make a throwing hawk out of this or a belt axe, but that material is compromised, and I'm assuming that's probably from being drop forged. So right off, I'm going to let you guys know, or let's just revisit what I said before, that sometimes you do have problems using recycled materials like this. It can be a brand new hammer that could have been drop forged at too low of a temperature, and now when you go to forge it at a higher heat, those defects open up. This could be some form of investment cast. I don't think it is. I really don't. I believe that to be a defect from being drop forged, and using progressive dies, probably got a little cold. When I started putting that much pressure on it, that crack opened up. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to set it to the side. Set it to the side so I can make some room on my switch block here. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start drifting that eye. If there's a failure there, I'm done. Cracked eye, I know I can go back, I can weld it. I'm not going to. If it proves to have that much stress in that piece, it's going to be done. When I start forging the head, the face of the hammer into the axe blade, if it fractures out, I'm done. We're going to find out pretty damn quick too. Also, I want you guys to know I've been talking about my Holland Anvil my Holland Anvil drifts that I use and some that I've modified. What I have right here is a Holland Anvil switch block. Both that I've been moving around here are Holland Anvil. They work pretty damn good, and I think it's a pretty good value. get any kickback from this, but I got to say that it's some decent material, some decent tools. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use this punch that, frankly, I've knocked the handle out of. So far, so good. We ain't out of the woods yet. This is one of those cases, there's going to be somebody comment, you should start with known steels, virgin stock, straight from the... I have done that, and I still have had failures because of defects in manufacturing. I don't know what steel this is. I'm guessing it's probably like a 1055. It could be a 4140. It could even be a 1045. It could be a 1070. So far it's working, so I'm going to keep going with it until it doesn't. I'm going to drip that open a bit more, and now I guess I have enough confidence. If it's going to fail, it's going to fail. So far, so good. Get nervous at times. So now I'm doing progressive drifting, working back and forth on the piece. Many of you are going, he looks a little familiar. You can actually watch me, my episode of Forged Fire with Season 4, Episode 2. Deerhorn Knives, you can actually now on Disney Plus. You can see me on Master of Arms, Season 1, Episode 1, the Flintlock Axe Pistol. Do a lot on YouTube. A lot of local interest stories for local news stations. A lot of YouTube interviews, podcasts, fun stuff like that. Ha ha ha! drive that through and it would stay in, but it's top heavy here, came out, it happens. Be sure to like and subscribe if you guys would. Share this on social media. Share it out. More the better. Watch my time just seeing how long this last one takes. I had high expectations. Of course, that's the one that gets the crack in it. Managed to get that one drifted open pretty good. Going into the forge. I'm going to get that up to high temp because power hammer time next. Now in most cases I'd want that tapered the opposite way, but I think I can still get a cool effect out of this. I have to move that seal around a little bit. Blade may end up a little bit longer. We'll find out. This first heat, I'm not going to rush it on temperature because I've already had one crack develop on that ball peen. If this cracks, it's pretty much done for. We're going to find out. Maybe get a little better shot here. Previous spike tomahawk, I think I'm going to cool it off. Let's go. We're looking good so far. I haven't seen any cracks develop on the face of the hammer or on that particular side of the eye. So I think we're good. And I'm assuming that, as a hammer is being drop forged, it was probably progressively forged in different dies. The ball peen was probably towards the end of it, and frankly wasn't hot enough when they formed it. So when I went to reforge it, I developed a crack. It's okay. I think I can still work with it. forged that down quite a bit. Looks like it probably will survive. I was hoping to get a third spike hawk today, but unless I use another hammerhead, which I have, it's not going to be that one. But I think oh, there I go. I do think I'm going to get a pretty cool throwing hawk out of this. So. I got less than 5 minutes before I hit the 2 hour mark. Getting kind of wore out here. We've been using the power hammer. So next, I'm just going to go ahead and draw that blade out and start putting a taper in it. Then I'm going to teardrop that eye. It'll be time for drifting. Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to, once I teardrop that eye, then I'm going to have to go in, I'm going to have to profile the blade. We'll be hand forging there. That worked pretty good, but my temp was a little low. Just as precautionary, I'm going back in the forge, and then I'm going to come back at a higher heat. If it turns out nice, I'm still going to get a decent amount out of this. Shop fee's probably about $165 an hour, so I can justify $150. I'd take $125 for the piece. That's an owl, but I can do it. All right. Still looking into your abrasives, what I pay for the handles at wholesale, all that fun stuff. let's see if I can keep a hold of this hand with this tomahawk while I'm forging that profile. That would have been cool if that had worked, right? Would have been like, yeah. Don't worry, we'll get it in editing. It's not like it's a live video or anything. Turned out a little better than I expected. I'm still looking at it. I've got that ball peen portion that's cracked across the face of it, and I'm going, damn, that would have been a good looking spike hawk or pipe hawk or hammer hawk or some kind of damn hawk, tomahawk. That's okay. Actually, have a hammer. Okay, here it is. So maybe I'll make this one look like it was going to be a pipe tomahawk, and it just kind of has that longer, narrower blade. Bringing her up to temp, it is time to set up for drifting. Alright, we're drifting bottom up. Starting right here over that square hole. I actually use these square holes for making barbecues. I think it should be okay. Over here. Maybe not there. We have this joke in the shop that a lot of people don't quite get at first. For those of you who've been following this video, you might have a little better understanding of it. People come in and they'll be like, what do you do when you make mistakes? We never make mistakes. Last minute design changes, yes, but we have never made a mistake. So it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, but at the same time, I worked for this, a long time ago, I worked at this hog farm where they had like, what do they call it, human trafficking. They actually brought in illegal immigrants and treated them very poorly. I found this out later. And they also apparently were manufacturing meth, and the guy I worked for, Richard Davis, ended up screwing me over real good. But it was funny because one time he was wrong about most everything he did there. And at one point he was like, well, I could be wrong. I was wrong once last year. And it was like, wow, you're that conceited. You don't come around here anymore. Actually going to drip pretty good. Now making that eye larger prior to teardropping and drifting with the tomahawk drifts seems to be a key factor. Nicely. Okay, going back into the forge. I want to throw that on the floor too. Use my full-size tomahawk drift. We're going to drift bottom up, see how far we can make it on that. Use a 4-pounder. That worked pretty good. See if we can get it in one more heat. Bring that up to temp. and I've got it. All right, we're calling her good at that. Guys, thank you. Boys and girls, guys and girls. I don't give a damn what bathroom you use or what pronouns you use. Like and subscribe to my channel. Share it out. Be creative. Help one another. You guys have a great one. Catch you next time.